So I recently tried Cinestill 400D, and I found out the D stands for dick. Hey, what's going on? It's your favorite photography YouTuber. You know, the one that only got 21 views on his last video. I shouldn't have quit my day job. Anyway, so this past weekend, well, this past Monday, came from the weekend, was International Photography Day, a day for photographers to rejoice about all the money that they've ever lost spending on gear, and for someone like me, 3 really expensive cameras and film stock. So there were 2 this weekend that I went to. The first one was on Saturday, hosted by Photodom, which is an amazing film photography store in Bushwick, Brooklyn. You can go to their store in Bushwick, and just be careful when you go to the website of the store because you're going to end up spending a lot of money. That was the one that was on Saturday. And then the one on Sunday was the one that I was the most excited about, because that one was hosted by not only Leica, but it was hosted by Cinestill and Nice Film Club in the Meatpacking District. So that one I was super excited about. So for Saturdays, I loaded up my Leica M6 and grabbed my Mamiya 7 and headed into the city to meet up with everybody, focusing on meeting up at the Oculus, which is right near the Freedom Tower. We met up. There was just a big gathering of everybody, and we started to walk towards the Brooklyn Bridge, to walk over the Brooklyn Bridge and go to Dumbo, which, if you're not familiar, Dumbo is an acronym. And what Dumbo actually means is dairy upsets my butt. Oi. No, that's not it. Though dairy does upset my butt. It actually means down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. It's a whole little area that I'm sure you've seen photos of. There's a carousel there. There's a park that's in between the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. It's absolutely beautiful. So some of my favorite photos were actually taken on the Brooklyn Bridge. I got some of my favorite photos, specifically this one right here. I like this one a lot because I always find it funny when fathers or mothers have their kids on their shoulders. But then my other favorite one was this one, which I just saw this kid sitting on top of a bench with other people, and the photo I got out of it just like really gave off a 90s vibe. Actually, all of these photos that I took gave off a really 90s vibe, in part because the film stock I was using had that like desaturated look, but also the way everyone dresses in Brooklyn, you would think it's 1998. So I'm going to show you the rest of these photos on top of a 90s vaporwave music file. So enjoy that. So when we were done on the bridge, we headed down to Dumbo, dairy upsets my butt, and we just hung out there a little by the carousel. And then the friend I was with, he and I went and got something to eat at Shake Shack. And while we were in Shake Shack, it just started downpouring like buckets and buckets and buckets of rain. So we decided for us to just end it there, walk back over the Manhattan Bridge, snap a couple of more photos, because on the Manhattan Bridge, if you ever go on it, along the pathway, the walkway, there's a fence that prevents people from throwing things over, but some people have cut holes in that fence, which gives way to having awesome framed up shots of not only looking over Brooklyn, but over the West Side Highway, over the river, and then overlooking the city in itself. So that was Saturday's photo walk with Photodom. The next day, like I said, the one I was most excited about was the one with Leica, Cinestill, and Nice Film Club. So that day I just brought my M6 that day. I wanted to just focus on, it was my Leica camera. I just wanted to focus on shooting 35mm photos that day. And we met up at the beautiful Leica store in the Meatpacking District, and I saw a lot of familiar faces and just hung out in that beautiful store for a little while. And one of the best things that they had and Cinestill brought was something that every film photographer, when they hear, their eyes just brighten up and their ears tuck up, is free film. That's right. Everyone got a free roll of 35mm film of Cinestill 400D. This is a newer film stock by Cinestill that I have not had a chance to try out. I've been very excited. So once we got our free film, we headed out into the streets and started walking. Of course, we came across a vintage car that just happened to be there, and literally it was just a group of photographers surrounding this car, popping off some photos with their 400D that they had loaded in their cameras. The next spot we headed to was Little Island. Little Island is this newer park that has been built in New York City City that is right on the water, right off of the pier, right next to Pier 57 along the running path. So we went there and we hung out there for a little while, and there's a couple of great spots at Little Island. There's this beautiful amphitheater where Childish Gambino just played, and I popped off some shots of just people relaxing there. And then if you walk up the road a little, there is a overlook that overlooks the financial district and New Jersey and the water. I hung out there because there was a lot of people there, and I was just focusing on getting some street photography, some photos of some people enjoying it. And this was one of my favorite photos. It has my new friend, Camera BB, in it, and then all of these people just overlooking the cloudy area of the city. I just really liked how the city was in the clouds and the colors and just the people's faces there as they were hanging out. So once we hung out there for a little bit, it looked like it was about to downpour again. So instead of going to Pier 57, which was right next door, we actually headed to the final destination, which was the Ace Hotel on 29th. We walked for a little while. I actually popped off a beautiful shot of this young woman. She was fixing her hair and looking down the street, and I was able to actually capture this photo, which I think may be one of my favorite photos from the entire weekend. I just really love the colors. She's nice and focused. She's looking down the street to make sure it's safe to cross, and I just love it. But once we got to the Ace Hotel, it was great. I got to meet the owner and starter of Cinestill, and also hang out with a bunch of new people I met. And my friend Camera BB, who I met, Ben, he let me use his Leica flash to pop off a couple of shots of him, another person sitting there, and then he shot me and my friend. And of course, after shooting with this flash, I went out and immediately bought it. It comes this week. I can't wait to use it, review it, try it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we spent the rest of the night just catching up, drinking, and getting to know each other and exchanging photo stories. It really was the perfect way to end the International Photography Weekend, meeting up with friends, having drinks, sharing stories about photography journeys, sharing photos with each other, sharing Instagrams, and just connecting as a group. So it was a really great time. I really enjoyed it. Again, I can't express how much I love Cinestill 400D. I went out and bought 4 more rolls because capitalism, I don't know. No, but the photos that came out of it were just fantastic. So all in all, International Photo Weekend was great. Be it a little wet, but I mean, that's usually how my weekends go.